launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans.
Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
It's so good to hear you back on the air. Stand by.
Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome in for a Tuesday show here on the JP Peterson Show. We got lots of breaking news to get to. We're brought to you by the law offices of Christopher Palermo. You can find him at palermopa.com. Yes. General Manager Tom Brady is cooking. He got his RB1 now. Leonard Fournette signed up. 3 years, $21 million. Could be as high as $24 million. Nick Geddes from Outkick.com does not like the deal. I'm not a big fan of signing running backs. I get it. But in this case, for me, it's fit. Not too old to get a 3-year deal. And you bring a guy back that Tom Brady is familiar with and wanted. And whatever Tom Brady wants, Tom Brady is. All right, so welcome to the show here today. We got lots to get to. TJ Reves, Bucs sideline guy, is going to join us at 10:15, talk all things Buccaneers. And Scott Reynolds from Pewter Report will join us at 10:30. We'll chat with him about this signing and what's next for the Buccaneers, because certainly they are not done, but they're getting all the key pieces back, which is very, very important. We'll hear from Julien Brisebois as the Lightning go up to face Carolina tonight. It's a big freaking hockey game tonight.
Yeah, coming off the trade deadline, they added their own big pieces yesterday. So
yeah,
I don't know if we're all going to be in action, but it's go time
I might
now.
see Nick Paul.
Paul should be in the lineup.
Or Jake Paul. Whatever.
One of the Pauls.
One of the Pauls will be in there. So we'll talk some hockey tonight. We'll hear from Julien Brisebois. And we'll hear from Jason Light yesterday. And Chris Godwin spoke to the media. I thought some interesting little tidbits there that we will go over. If I'm not mistaken, didn't Jason Light kind of just was asked about Lenny and basically was like, oh, we'll see what his market value is.
Yeah, they say they'll do their best to get him back, but he was visiting in New England yesterday.
Yes, he was.
But there was that report that he was looking for $12 million per.
I think he was looking for $7 million per. And that's what he got.
That's what he got.
As of yesterday, I don't think GM Light was down with $7 million per. But when GM Brady weighed in, evidently
GM Brady,
evidently $7 million was exactly what Leonard Fournette was going to get.
Now would be a great time to go back into the 40 days of speculation era, where JP Peterson turned on Tom Brady and said, "What Tom Brady wants isn't what Tom Brady should always get."
Well, in this case, according to you, you don't think he should have got Leonard Fournette?
No, I don't. I really don't.
Tell me why.
I think he's a league average running back.
League average
running back as a runner. He improved a lot as a pass catcher, and clearly without him in the lineup last year, the running back room suffered from a pass catching standpoint. But as a runner, I don't think Leonard Fournette has great vision. He doesn't have great burst. He kind of stops at the line a lot. Giving him $7 million. Leonard Fournette now has become, I think, a top 10 paid running back in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think he's that. And he's going to be 30 by the time this contract's up. If we see through it, the Bucs signed Doug Martin to the same exact terms just about,
oh gosh, he's so much
7 years ago?
Martin. He's so much better than Doug Martin.
Doug Martin was coming off leading the league in rushing and got that contract. Leonard Fournette has never led the league in rushing.
Well, he led the league in yards for scrimmage for the second half of the Super Bowl season and dominated in the postseason. You can look at all the overall numbers that you want, but coming from a guy that watches every game and looks at the tape and watches the way Lenny plays when Lenny's ready to play, he's as effective a running back as anybody in the league. I think the reason his numbers aren't bigger is because the Bucs don't commit to the running game. And I think they need to be more committed to the running game. And if they were more committed to the running game, I think he would have better numbers. I think this team would have better balance. And I think they would be a better overall football team. And judging from what Clyde Christensen said about his conversations with Tom Brady last week, and he said one of the things that Brady really wanted to emphasize is getting better at the running game. So I think he realizes he should not be throwing the ball 744 times during a season or whatever it was to lead the league. He can't do that. They've got to cut that back, and Leonard Fournette's a big part of that. And they've got to commit to. He's durable. He knows the system. We had to go out and get an RB1. So, you can sit here and say he's not the guy. Who would be the guy? You got to put somebody there. and whoever you throw out there, I'm going to poke holes in it. So give me the guy. Is he overpaid? Think about that. $7 million a year for a RB1. Back in, what is Zeke making? 16?
Near 16 million.
Ridiculous number he's making. I mean, that's too much. $7 million for an RB1 that when he put up the numbers that he was putting up, to me, it's a fair deal.
And there's the continuity factor there as well.
Exactly, which is huge.
If that's the one, if you're going to sell me on it, you could sell me on
that's
that.
It. That's it.
And
that's the main.
Most
that's
likely,
the main
that
piece.
is what it is. Because
that's the main piece. Because you can go out and get some other guys who have had good numbers, but you don't know how they're going to fit into your system. You don't know how their personality is going to fit into your clubhouse. You don't know how his little idiosyncrasies may work with Brady. They may not. This is a known guy who Brady loves. He's got good chemistry with. He ain't perfect, and $7 million may be a touch much, but when you're working the cap the way they're working the cap, they got it done. So, and I think Jenna's reporting that it's $11 million guaranteed. That's not a lot of guaranteed money. This is a deal you could probably get out of after 2 years quite easily. And I think when you're going all in, it's much better to have the guy that works in the system, works with Brady, than an unknown. And
they don't want to go into the draft having these needs. That's why they brought in Logan Ryan on a team-friendly deal, we assume, to play safety, because you don't want to be drafting a safety and trying to find another Winfield, right? Right. The same thing with Leonard Fournette, because the running back draft class, we think there's some hidden gems in there, but if you go by scouts, they don't think it's a great class. And you just don't know how they're going to fit in. It's a complete unknown. Yeah, and we don't think Rojo's coming back here. We think that bridge is burned, correct? Yeah. So right now you got 2 running backs on the roster. I still would love to see a draft come in. Maybe do you bring back Gio Bernard on like a veteran min, get him more involved maybe? Yeah. To me, because no matter what you say, I'm not sold on Sneak Vaughn being my third down back. I'm not sold on him. I just think he's got upside. I really believe there's something there that has just got to be polished a little bit. But the band's back together. Yeah. I think it's, had we gone out and gotten, throw a couple running back names out there that are, good, that have played well in this league, you would say, oh, that's great. He's going to fit in, but you just don't know. You don't know. And it's such a delicate chemistry when you talk about the continuity that you already have with this guy, that you don't want to mess with it. Well, and certainly Brady went to bat to get him that money. Well, let me throw this one at you. Because I don't think Light was all down with that money on yesterday. I don't think so, no. I didn't see that. Let me throw this one at you real quick. Cordell Patterson went back to Atlanta. Saw that. And we were, banging the drum for Cordell Patterson. Maybe he's not a traditional running back by sense, but he's just a weapon. He's a weapon. And he signed for 2 years, $10.5 million. So he's making less than Leonard Fournette. I know he's older. He's got more tread on the tires than Leonard Fournette, but he's a guy who's not also not as many touches, and he could do more things than Leonard, I think. Yeah. And he's played with Brady before. He would have been a nice addition, even as a third down back. Yeah. If I compare those two, that's what my main point is. Yeah. I would have rather, you asked who else would that guy be? I would have rather gone out and got Cordell Patterson. According to Jenna Lane, the Bucs never even reached out to him, so clearly there was no interest. Well, and that tells you something. That tells you something, because Brady played with him. Yeah. So that tells you something. There's something, not to be disparaging to him, because I love his skill set. Maybe there's something else that just doesn't work with Brady. I don't know what it is, whether maybe he's not as good in pass protection. Maybe he's not as good at something there doesn't fit. And you gotta be, cognizant of what Brady's saying there. Because clearly they would ask him, like, what do you think about Cordell? Yeah. And clearly they said, nah, and he said no. So knows a lot better than we do. So you look at what the Bucs just continue to add, bring guys back. And, I think there's going to be more hunger this year after the way last season ended. I don't think you're going to have that same type of hunger from the Rams. I think the Rams are very much, and you look at Aaron Donald, he's going to make a lot of money. I get it. But when guys start talking about retirement, that means they're already retired, unless they're Tom Brady, which means they're just trying to get traded. By the way, when's the Brady press conference where we get to ask him about that? I don't know. I don't think we're going to get that press conference. You don't think so? I don't either, because he doesn't want to answer those questions. He does not want to answer. He does not. So what was the rift, Tom? What exactly were you upset about? What was did you really want to go to the 49ers or the Dolphins? Why didn't you want to come back to Tampa? Hey, I think Jason, though, was asked those questions yesterday.
He was.
So we'll get to listen to
Yeah,
those.
we'll listen to those answers.
But I don't think Brady's going to get those.
And even if he did, he ain't going to answer it.
Hey, but you know what's that? Deshaun Watson's going to answer these questions. The Browns are making him available to the media this week.
Wow. So he has to talk to the media, but Brady doesn't when he comes back?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
God, I hope they've Pewter him up to good Deshaun Watson for what he's going to get.
Wow. Is that today?
I don't know if it's today. I know it's this week.
Wow.
It's scheduled for this week.
And
So-
the NFL has not come out with what their suspension is going to be. That might take a while, which is weird. I mean, this thing's been going on for 2 years, almost 2 years now, right? And the NFL hasn't completed its investigation. It tells me they really don't want to get into the investigation, to be quite honest. So, all right, there's another big story that's brewing that we have to get to, which you kind of uncovered, and I kind of want to read that particular. Do you have that? I think it's from Barrett Media, right? Which is kind of an industry source for TV and radio and podcasts.
Yeah, and I'll shout out one of our listeners, Joey Babuzzi. He's the one who brought it up to our attention.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you or me missed this or didn't see it.
Completely.
But the gist of it basically was that Bally Sports, who holds the Rays and Lightning, were going to start their new streaming service. They're going to test it out with a few teams, the Rays, Brewers, Marlins, etc., and do a soft launch. And it would basically bring the Spectrum deal with the Rays, which is the only basic cable provider in the area, I think, that carries Bally's, to an end at the end of March, clearly before baseball season.
Right.
And the quote here at the bottom was that it would leave 99% of Hillsborough without access to Bally Sports Sun, where Rays games are shown.
And also Lightning games as well.
Lightning games.
Into the postseason before the networks take it over.
Yes.
So that's a big, big deal. So what's going on there? And so I reached out to Chris Torello, who said he didn't have any information just yet. So I reached out to executives at some folks I know over at Bally's, and wait, I just got another text. Okay. So this is what I found out. That particular report that I sent him that report, and he said that information is full of holes. Going to launch a DTC, so direct consumer streaming service during the current baseball season, including the 2 Florida MLB teams, and Spectrum deal is getting done. So the Spectrum deal is going to get done. That's what I'm being told by a very good industry source, very close to the negotiations. Sinclair now in an extension with them, working to close the deal. So this source, who knows exactly what's going on, says the deal with Spectrum is going to get done, and this Bally app is going to be up and running during baseball season. So this is a good thing. This is a good thing for Rays fans because, like right now, I'm on Spectrum, which is about $160 a month.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a lot of money. I do it for work, obviously, because I like their DVR, and I record all the games so I can go back through them, which is not always very workable with YouTube's DVR and some other DVRs. They're very clunky. Spectrum's DVR is the best for me, and you can really break down games. So that's one of the big reasons that I do it, and plus of the ease of the Rays and having all that programming. It's vital for me. So I'll spend the extra money to do it. I don't know if everybody will, but the Bally's app, if you're going to get Lightning and Rays, how much would you pay for that a month? That's the question, because I don't know what pricing is going to be here. I mean, typically ESPN Plus runs you I think I pay
$6.99.
$6.99 a month. I mean, it's nothing.
I'd like to think it'd be somewhere in the economical range of maybe $19.99 at the most.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking.
I'd like to think. I'm hoping it doesn't go anymore. I mean, I'll pay it. Me and you will pay
I think, yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people, I don't know if it's good for Spectrum, because I think once this Bally's app comes out, I think a lot of people here locally, because I watch, on Spectrum, I watch 10 channels.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. I mean, there's 1,000 there, but I watch about 10 of them.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of Netflix, so I'm going off app anyway, off Spectrum app. So I think Spectrum will lose a lot of customers if the Bally's app comes out.
Well,
it's
the same way it happened with Frontier last. I mean, I remember the 2020 season, that shortened season was like halfway through. All of a sudden, Frontier lost the Rays.
Right.
And that was the year they made the World Series. So you missed the entire run. It's like, what the hell's going on? And they never got it back the entire year last year.
And a lot of people live in apartments and communities that only offer one selection.
Yeah.
And so you say, well, Frontier doesn't, but Spectrum does. Well, I can't get Spectrum, where some people can't get Frontier or whatever. So the Bally's app now will be universal. Everybody will be able to get it. It's going to cost you a little bit extra, but I think in the long run, it might save people a lot of money if they're on Spectrum just to get the Bally's.
Yeah,
which I am, and I think a lot of people are. If that Bally's is offered separately, I think a lot of people.
I think it's going to be.
You're going to lose your Spectrum Sports 360, which you can't lose that.
Can't lose that.
Can't lose that.
And our friend Chris Torella.
I can't lose that.
But
I mean, and honestly, that's another reason I have it too, because I love the show and they do a great job.
Yeah, but I think if anything, you're going to have increased viewership because you're assuming you're going to get all those Frontier customers back who haven't been able to watch the Rays or haven't switched over yet.
Right.
You should get that. And the Rays already had monster ratings in this market. There's clearly a demand to watch Rays baseball. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. So the Bally app should be a hit.
So and a lot of these teams are going to this. Like, this is the future of baseball. It's going to be pay-per-view. Now they start jacking up the price. That's not good for consumers.
Yeah, if you're going $49.99
a month,
you're pushing a lot of people out there.
Yeah. I think the price point needs to be. I think it needs to be closer to $9.99. To be honest with you, I don't know what their model is. Somebody's got to pay old Stu that $400 million upfront fee that he already got, allegedly. So there's a lot of money. I mean, there's a lot of money involved here. There's a shit ton of money involved here. But I think in the end, it's more access. So I think that's good. All right, quick break. When we come back, TJ Rives is going to join us. We're going to talk about this Leonard Fournette signing and other things going on with your Buccaneers, who are now the odds-on favorites to win the NFC. Well, that sure changed in a week. Back in 2. Stay with us. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new, healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. March Madness has come to the Gold and Diamond Source. Did you know the Aquamarine is the birthstone of the month? And the Emily collection has some great unique pieces. It's designed to be affordable, unique, stylish gold and diamond jewelry. The Julie collection is Julie and Steve Weintraub's exclusive, one-of-a-kind, award-winning collection of the world's finest diamonds and rare fine gemstone jewelry. Don't forget, they have 0% financing and the Diamond Savings Account, where your diamond never loses its value. You can upgrade at any time and get 100% of its value towards a new purchase. Do you have any old jewelry, broken jewelry, just lying around? Well, bring it in and get top dollar and get even more value if you use that money to buy something new or just take the cash. Shop local with the folks who support our community in so many charitable endeavors. It's the Golden Diamond Source, just a short 15-minute ride from Tampa, just over the bridge on Ulmerton Road. Always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco was started 888-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on Fan Stream Sports. Only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, presented by the law offices of Christopher Palermo. You can find him at PalermoPA.com. You can find the Bucs sideline guy, TJ Reeves, at Bucs sideline guy on Twitter, and he joins us now. What's up, TJ Reeves? How are you?
Happy Tuesday. And the news keeps getting better and better on the free agency front and the moves and the acquisitions. I keep saying to everybody privately and keep saying it publicly and on social media, in Jason Light, Bruce Arians, oddballs, and I think de facto free agent acquirer Tom Brady we trust. And so here we go again.
Just call him the GM,
Leonard Fournette.
bro.
I mean, do we not think, just like he called Russell Gage and just like he likely called Shaq Mason after the trade probably, and just like here with Fournette being a free agent, that he didn't make a phone call and say, let's do this, playoff Lenny, let's go?
Did it seem a little bit like Jason Light was trying to politely deflect that Tom Brady's running the show with Shaq Mason? It's like, oh yeah, we had already contacted Shaq. Yeah, Lenny, I don't know if we're going to give him that much money. We'll see what the market is, and then he gets the money. Hey, whatever. If Tom Brady's running the front office, it's fine with me because he's doing a hell of a job. Whoever's doing it, kudos to everybody.
So 2 weeks ago today, this mayhem was about to begin.
Yeah.
And we were talking about whether Chris Godwin would do the deal for a huge signing bonus or take the franchise tag. And we were wondering what the salary cap implications would be if he did or he didn't. And then later that day, when I got off the phone with you, he did not take the long-term deal immediately and did the franchise tag. And, of course, on your show and everywhere and the internet, oh, my God, they're not going to be able to sign anybody. What is going on? And 2 weeks later now, help me here. You've re-signed Carlton Davis.
Yep.
You've re-signed Ryan Jensen.
Yep.
You've acquired Shaq Mason at an expensive price.
Yep.
You have gone and gotten Russell Gage from the Atlanta Falcons as a third receiver, as a slot receiver.
Don't forget about
And
Logan
you've
Ryan.
re-signed Leonard Fournette, and you've gotten Godwin a new deal, and you more than likely are going to get Rob Gronkowski taken care of.
Yeah.
How are we doing 2 weeks later, JP?
And I would argue, and I said this a couple weeks ago, I think this, but when Brady came back, I said, I think this has we have an opportunity to have a better roster than we had last year. And I think, I'm going to call it a wash with Shaq Mason and Ali Marpet because they're both Pro Bowl guards. I think we upgraded with Logan Ryan at safety, to be quite honest. I love Jordan, but Logan Ryan's he's experienced. He's the real deal. AB, Gabe brings a lot of athleticism. He's not the full receiver that AB is. He's a lot less headache, and you don't have to worry about any of the bullshit. And here you go. You got Lenny back. Stenny goes in for Kappa, and we're not done. This CD3 is back. You still have all your draft picks, by the way, to add to this team. So, are you kidding me? I mean, we were in full rebuild.
Well, you
mode
gave up what, a fifth or something for
who cares?
Shaq Mason, something like that for later on in the day. But you're absolutely right. Now, left Logan Ryan out. There's another phone call that was made. The Giants released him. Wait a minute. I think I recognize this number. Is this a Boston number? Tom Brady? Tom Brady. Oh, yeah, I'm Tampa. So you got, again, you make a very compelling case that, we love the roster that won the Super Bowl. We love the roster that was there, but you can make an argument this is as good a roster right now with what you have reloaded with.
Yep.
And that's why I come back to, in Jason Light and Bruce Arians, we trust. You love hearing these stories, and good for Leonard Fournette. Good for Leonard Fournette that he's going to get the signing bonus up front and get his money because he has played for less money the last couple of years and some incentives. And that guy's a great pass blocker and a tremendous – I can't tell you how many times, probably 4 or 5 times, he made a tremendous catch over the shoulder, one-handed catch, et cetera. He's a really viable weapon out of the backfield that I know the Bucs need and want.
Yeah, and listen, you might be able to find some more talented running backs out there, but when you combine his talent, his running ability, the pass catching, all those things that you just mentioned, plus that consistency that you get, he is, and the attitude he brought to the table post, that come to Jesus meeting with Bruce Arians. I mean, it's hard to find a better teammate the way this guy has turned it around. I love, you could have gone and gotten a guy in another free agent or someone in the draft, but I don't think you're going to find anybody with a better total package than Leonard Fournette. And he's got a little bit of tread on the tires. We get it. But listen, he's got everything you want in that RB1. I love it. I think it's a huge, huge signing.
And you look at last year, with the exception of Keyshawn Vaughn staying healthy most of the year, if not all of the year, and he didn't play as much. At one point or another, you didn't have Ned, or you didn't have Ron Jones, you didn't have Gio Bernard. So you can't have enough of these guys interchangeable.
Exactly.
So it's great to have him back, and you still have Bernard, and you still have Keyshawn Vaughn. You have some weapons there. And again, none of this is going to mean anything when you line up week one and get ready to play. The scoreboard reads 0-0. Your win-loss reads 0-0. But I think you got to feel very good if you're a Buccaneer fan right now with the moves that have been made the last 2 weeks. Really good.
I 100% agree with you. And what's next, TJ Reeves? What's next? Do you think there's an Ndamukong Suh sighting? They're going to make a move for another defensive tackle. That's where they go in the draft. Because right now, as they go into the draft, I see kind of defensive tackle as kind of the number one position that they need, because Suh had not been retained. What do you think's happening there?
That's a great question that we don't know the answer to. And help me, because in the blur of everything that I'm doing in all different worlds, Will Golston doesn't have a deal anywhere else.
No, he does not. That's another.
As we sit here on Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
So that's somebody waiting for what's the next, best offer to him elsewhere or here. Suh would probably be a 1-year deal anywhere that he would go.
Right.
That's what he's been on,
right,
including the last year with the Rams and the last 3 years with the Bucs. It's essentially been like a year-to-year situation for him.
Yeah.
So you would have to think, and this is probably some of what they were doing, honestly, with Leonard Fournette and his deal with in relation to Carlton Davis's deal. Whoever says yes first is going to get more of the money.
Yeah.
Is going to get more of the signing bonus. And it may be the same thing with Golston and with Ndamukong Suh. Don't know that. We just speculate, but let's wait and see if one of those names for sure can come through on that defensive line, because you need those guys. Those guys are one of the keys to whatever you're able to do outside with Shaq Barrett, JTS, Joe Tryon, Shoyinka, and anybody else that's going to rush the quarterback. And I mean, it looked like Jason Pierre-Paul will be elsewhere, as banged up as he was, and you and I have been talking about that. We don't know, though. We don't know. Let's wait and see what kind of – they're going to get these guys at their price. That's right. That's rather obvious right now. That's what they're going to work in. They're going to work them in at their price, or they'll sit and wait for these guys to come back in. Remember, a year ago, Antonio Brown and I think Leonard Fournette both came in late, right around training camp time.
Yep.
So they may sit around and wait here for some of these guys and wait them out.
Well, listen, the fact that nobody's jumped on Golston and Suh is a good thing. That means that there's nobody going to go out there and overpay for them. So if nobody's going to overpay, these guys will likely come back here because of, no state income tax. They don't have to move. They don't have to go through a new system. I mean, that's probably worth $1 million or so on your price tag, right? If you're going to go somewhere else, all things being equal, you're just going to come back at market level. And I think the Bucs will be more than happy to pay both of those guys at market level. They're not going to, like you said, at their price. TJ Reeves joining us here. Let's talk about now. We have we have the group, the cast of characters that will be the quarterbacks of the NFC South. Save the Panthers. I think there may be a move coming, but if not, that's Sam Darnold, right? So you got Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota. Welcome to Atlanta. As Matt Ryan goes to the Colts, which I think is a great move for both teams, quite frankly. The Falcons got to take a $40 million dead cap hit this year, but they can move on in their pursuit of their next quarterback. So I think it works for them. It'll be interesting to see what Marcus Mariota brings to the table. But I'd have to say, after the sell has stopped, advantage Buccaneers.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And the Saints have turned back to Jameis Winston, and he's going to get a big signing bonus. But the second part of that is there's not much guaranteed money for him for year 2 of the deal. So it's essentially like a 1-year deal where he's getting a bunch of signing bonus. So we'll see if Jameis is fully healthy and ready to go. I would not be surprised if the Bucs Saints is the opening game. We've seen that numerous times throughout the history. Of course, last year it was the Cowboys on the Thursday night, but it's usually an NFC South opponent, and it's usually been the Saints. So we may see Jameis right away in that situation. And how wild in Atlanta. You spent a little time in Atlanta. Matt Ryan gone. And am I correct? It's Marcus Mariota or Josh Rosen who was here, or they're drafting somebody. So that's
Ooh.
definitely advantage Buccaneers playing against the Falcons. Yes.
Yeah, the Falcons are in complete rebuild mode. And, the Saints are interesting. With Jameis, hey, look, he was playing good against stuff before he got hurt. He was playing well, 14 touchdowns, 3 interceptions at that point. It was 5-2. Look, I think the Saints are very viable with Jameis Winston. I think, and this is a team that swept the Bucs last year, or it's, 5-1, the one being the playoff game, right? Over the last 3 years. So, look, I'm not writing the Saints off. They're still a really, really good football team.
No doubt. But you're right, though, with Brady back and with these weapons coming back and the fact that they just destroyed Carolina in the 4 meetings against Matt Rule with Brady at the helm and have beaten Atlanta by double figures in all 4 wins against the Atlanta Falcons, then you got to be confident here that it's not unlike what he had in the AFC East, where almost every year you were penciling in 5, if not 6 wins in the division. So these are confident times. Be reassured, Buccaneer fans. I think there's a lot to be excited about as we move forward and get ready for the draft.
All right, my friend, give me 30 seconds on your March Madness that you've been calling.
My goodness. We've been talking a lot about this, and we saw some upsets. Goodbye, Kentucky. St. Peter's out of New Jersey, Times School. This is what makes the NCAA tournament great.
We're peacocking.
And now we see the heavyweights. My Memphis Tigers got taken down by Gonzaga.
Yeah.
Is Gonzaga going to win it all?
Yes.
I like Villanova to go against them in the Final Four, by the way.
Ooh.
And when does Coach K bow out? And maybe as soon as coming up on Thursday night against Texas Tech, that it could be it for the legend, or will the fairy tale run continue into the Elite Eight and maybe the Final Four? We will find out. Going to be a lot of fun. Going to be a lot of fun to watch all of this unfold.
Yes, sir.
And I'm chirping away, by the way, on the College Basketball Coast to Coast podcast and live show that's on TuneIn. I got more angles than a geometry book, brother.
Yes, you do.
So College Basketball Coast to Coast is the channel that I've been on all March. Tune in, and also the podcast, and we are previewing and recapping the NCAA tournament, and I will be live at the Final Four up in New Orleans in weekends. Whoever's there, I will be there with them, and I'm happy to report back on the FanStream JP show when that time comes.
You're the best, TJ Reeves. Thank you, buddy. We'll be in contact. See you, bud.
Thank you, my friend. Happy Tuesday. Playoff Lenny is back. We're good.
Best. You're the best. All right, quick break. When we come back, there's a story in the Times today from the great mayor. Mayor Castor has told the Rays it's time to shit or get off the pot. It's basically what she said today. I like that. We'll talk about up next. Scott Reynolds from Pewter Report will get his take on the signing of Lenny. What's next for your Buccaneers? Stay with us. March Madness has come to the Gold and Diamond Source. Did you know the Aquamarine is the birthstone of the month? And the Emily collection has some great unique pieces. It's designed to be affordable, unique, stylish gold and diamond jewelry. The Julieve collection is Julie and Steve Weintraub's exclusive, one-of-a-kind, award-winning collection of the world's finest diamonds and rare fine gemstone jewelry. Don't forget, they have 0% financing and the Diamond Savings Account, where your diamond never loses its value. You can upgrade at any time and get 100% of its value towards a new purchase. Do you have any old jewelry, broken jewelry, just lying around? Well, bring it in and get top dollar and get even more value if you use that money to buy something new or just take the cash. Shop local with the folks who support the personalized preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477, or go to BAMMC.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
We got a jam-packed show for you here today. With the signing of Leonard Fournette, Mayor Castor has just come out with some statements about it's time for the Rays to pick the place where they want to be. It's going to be St. Peter, Tampa. Evidently, they're waffling again, as we told you they would. Very predictable, but we'll get to that in the 11 o'clock hour. Right now, we're going to chat with our good friend Scott Reynolds from the very popular, most popular Bucs site, Pewter Report. What's up, my friend? How are you?
Doing good, JP. How are you?
I'm great. There's a new world order, and just can't wait to see what happens. So
There might be a new world order, but I tell you, it looks like the same old Buccaneers.
I love it.
And that's a good thing, right? Because the last couple of years, Super Bowl championship in 2020, franchise best 13 wins last year, and a guy that really helped make that happen, Leonard Fournette, back in the fold, and that's a big addition because the Buccaneers running back stable was Keyshawn Vaughn and nobody else until the re-signing of Leonard Fournette.
It didn't seem exactly like Jason Light was all about giving him $7 million a year as of yesterday, but evidently GM Mr. Brady fixed that for Leonard Fournette. Am I reading that right?
Yeah, I think you're reading that exactly right. Yeah, I don't think the Bucs are crazy about the number that they had to pay to re-sign Lenny, but GM Tom got his man, so that's important. And you know what? Listen, it's a good fit. There's just not a lot of great running backs out there.
Right.
Free agency. This is a player that has proven himself, had a better year this past season than he did the year before, right? I mean, when Ronald Jones was the lead running back in 2020, up until he got hurt, that opened the door for the guy that became playoff Lenny, then Lombardi Lenny. And, you go back to that Colts game, right? 4 touchdowns. The Eagles game had a pair of touchdowns. This is still a wide receiver-driven offense. And you can see that with the fact that not only do they have a $20 million receiver in Chris Godwin, JP, and a $16 million receiver in Mike Evans, they've got a $10 million number 3 wide receiver, right? So that just shows you how much of the passing game matters. But the fact that Leonard Fournette can catch the ball out of the backfield, 69 catches last year, got remarkably better in pass protection, and really kept the guy that they signed to be the third down back, Giovanni Bernard, on the bench for most of the season, speaks volumes about how he improved.
It's a great point. And, I think we talked a lot about how this has become maybe an overpassing league, but I thought it was interesting when Clyde Christensen said that Tom Brady on his list of how we can improve, his first thing was the running game. Right. So, and that's Leonard Fournette. And I think Brady knows that he does not need to be throwing it 744 times or whatever it was this year, most in the NFL. Right. He wants the running game to improve, and you got to have an RB1, and few better than Leonard Fournette. Yeah, maybe it's a little bit more than you wanted to spend, but the continuity is the key here, right?
Yeah, it is. And the fact too is that I think that they got an upgrade at the right guard position, especially as a run blocker, in Shaq Mason over Alex Kappa. That's a step in the right direction. We'll see what happens at the left guard spot, because Ali Marpet was an incredible run blocker there. Maybe Aaron Stinney, or maybe a rookie, if they can get a top to place Marpet there. But really, if you go back last year, and the NFC is going to go through the Rams. It's going to go through Los Angeles. And go back to that game in week 3. The Bucs rushed the ball for 32 yards against the Rams. Tom Brady was the leading rusher out there in L.A. That game, if you remember. And then here in the Bucs' final game, the loss to the Rams in the playoffs, 51 yards on the ground. So, listen, Tom Brady does not want to meet Aaron Donald in the backfield. He does not want to meet Leonard Floyd in the backfield. He doesn't want to get hit. And so you have to have balance against a team like the Rams. When the Rams have you on the ropes, that's when their pass rushers get home, right? Just ask Joe Burrow in the Super Bowl. And so I think that you go back and you look at those 2 games against the Rams, both defeats at the hands of Los Angeles. And the common denominator is the Bucs just could not run the ball against the Rams. And that's something that these 2 teams, they're going to meet again for a 4th time in the regular season. this year, and they'll probably meet again in the playoffs. So you got to have an answer on the ground, and you have to be able to wear down Aaron Donald, some of those Rams pass rushers by running the ball effectively. I know this is a pass-heavy league, but the running game still has purpose. It still has a value. Yep. And sometimes that value is not just salting away a win in the fourth quarter. It's being able to pass the ball effectively in the fourth quarter if it's a tight game. But the attrition, the physical pounding that you can deliver to a team in quarters 1, 2, and 3 with the bigger back like Fournette, if you're able to do it, can pay dividends. Because now those pass rushers in the fourth quarter, when they're trying to get to you, they're gassed because they've been trying to take on blocks and tackle running backs for most of the game.
Scott Reynolds joining us here, Pewter Report. All right, so next up I think they have kind of turned their attention to the defensive line. And Ndamukong Suh, still a free agent. Will Golston, still a free agent. Both of those guys, huge pieces to this defense. And they haven't been picked up. So nobody overpaid for them early in free agency. So it looks like they're going to be available at a good price, or at least the right price. And I think there's probably a good chance they get one, if not both of those guys back, if Suh wants to play. You know, he just had twins, so not sure he even wants to play. But damn, he played great last year, as did Golston. I'd love to see them get both of them back. You think they can do it?
Yeah, they're not asked to be the sackmeister, right? I mean, that's Shaq Barrett's job. That's going to be Joe Tryon-Shoyinka's job this year, rushing from the outside. The outside linebackers always are the guys that are going to put up the sack numbers. But when you can get 6 sacks a season, as the Bucs have gotten from Ndamukong Suh the last 2 years. And let's not forget the sack and a half he had in the Super Bowl too. At age 35, I think you can still get another quality year out of Ndamukong Suh. So if you get 5 or 6 sacks from him, Will Golston had a career high 4 sacks. He's primarily a run stuffer, doesn't get as many opportunities to rush the passer because he's not on the field on third downs. But when he's out there on first and second downs and they decide to throw the ball, he can. Some things happen. He got some pressures. He got some sacks. He's a valuable cog to this defense, and it's just about money at this point. That's all it is. The waiting game to see what level of interest those guys get. And I think at Will Golston's age, at 30, he's probably not in demand, and then Suh at 35, probably not as much in demand. So it's just going to be a waiting game to see where those prices settle for those players. But I expect them back. And then I think you have to draft another defensive lineman to get another young guy in the mix. Will Golston, I think, will get a multi-year contract. But for Suh, this is going to be a 1-year deal. Steve McClendon also might not be back. He's 36. So at some point in time, you have to have an answer at defensive tackle, a younger guy that ideally would be groomed behind the likes of Ndamukong Suh for a year. And then, you know, he's the heir apparent in the starter in 2023 next to Vita Vea.
I agree with you there. And, you know, I think if there's one, I think critique of this Bucs roster right now that I'm hearing, and I think does have some legitimacy, is that it's one of the older rosters in the league. And that, of course, leads to injuries. That happened last year. It didn't happen the year before when they won the Super Bowl. You know, it's part of the game. Nobody can handicap it. You don't, you know, but yes, older players probably get injured more. So I think if there's an Achilles heel for this team, that's it. Would you agree?
Yeah, it very well could be. And you start to see that. Jason Pierre-Paul's been a great example, right? I mean, he's coming off of a knee scope during, or I should say after the Super Bowl, right? And then this year tears the rotator cuff in week 1. And that basically handicapped them the entire season. So I think they're going to turn the page on JPP. I think they need to, and get younger there at that position, because now Shaq Barrett is 30 years old, right, this year. So it's a conveyor belt, and you got to keep that conveyor belt coming, especially in the trenches along the defensive line. And so that's why I'm saying I think that they need to grab a defensive tackle. And listen, the way that the Buccaneers are constructing their roster this offseason, addressing holes in free agency, that's going to give them more flexibility in the draft, right? They trade for Shaq Mason. Now there's not 2 guard holes to fill. There's only 1. They signed a 3rd wide receiver in Russell Gage, so you don't have to draft a wide receiver in the first or the second day of the draft. And it doesn't mean they're not going to draft one. I think they will. You can never have enough good wide receivers. But I just like what they're doing here. The addition of Leonard Fournette gives them some flexibility. They don't have to go out and draft a running back in the second round. They can if they want to, right? It's there. We'll wait fourth round and address some other needs. Logan Ryan, I think, is a great pickup. I think he'll challenge Sean Murphy-Bunting for the nickel cornerback job, gives them some flexibility at the center position. And I think ideally that's a player that maybe replaces Ross Cockrell on the depth chart. And so I like what they've done in free agency, some of their re-signings and some of their new additions. And I think that's going to allow them to be a lot more flexible when it comes to the draft.
Scott Reynolds, Pewter Report, joining us here. And when you look around the NFC South, we now have a pretty good idea where the quarterbacks are going to be. That's Jameis Winston in New Orleans, as expected. Got an interesting deal there. 2 years, $28 million, some good money up front, but certainly wasn't the starter that everybody around the league was trying to get. He kind of shuffled out, but I still think he's a good fit there, and I think he can be very effective even without Sean Payton. And it looks like Marcus Mariota is going to be the heir apparent as Matt Ryan moves to the Colts, which I think is a great deal for both teams there. And I'm guessing it's Sam Darnold in Carolina, or they're going to draft somebody. That one still might be open, but I'm not too concerned about the Panthers. What are your thoughts on the NFC South quarterbacks?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's going to come down to the Saints again, and the reason why the Saints are going to be in it is because Ben Allen's defense, he's still there. I thought that was a key retention there, right? If Sean Payton's going to retire, you've got to have some continuity because really it's been the same defense that has carried that team, even when Drew Brees was there. I mean, this Drew Brees that we saw in 2020 was not the same Drew Brees we saw 5 years earlier, where the Saints were more of an offensive team and Drew Brees was just a prolific passer. As Drew got older, the injuries started to catch up, the thumb and just didn't have the velocity on the football. That was apparent in his last game, which was against the Buccaneers in that playoff game. Got intercepted 3 times. And so I think we've seen that over the last couple of years, while the Saints were winning the NFC South year after year after year, it really was that defense that was kind of being the anchor, the stronghold of the Saints. And it's really due to Dennis Allen and finding the right players, having them fit within his scheme. And so I think that defense can still keep the Saints in it. The biggest thing, of course, is without Sean Payton, how will Jameis Winston react? This is a player known for turning the ball over, and I think Sean Payton was a very steady hand for him. And we'll see if he continues to have some success avoiding turnovers post-Sean Payton. That's going to be the key to success for New Orleans. They have a chance at a winning record with that defense as long as Jameis Winston doesn't lose the game for them. If that happens, all those defensive players it's all for naught because the Saints will have a losing record if Jameis Winston turns the ball over. So I think the Falcons and the Panthers are in clear rebuilding mode. I wouldn't even be surprised if Carolina decides to trade oft-injured Christian McCaffrey this offseason. That's one less weapon for Sam Darnold to work with. And, it's going to set your draft pick or two, but it's not going to help the Panthers win more games.
Not this year. And that's what, that's what the Bucs are interested in. They're all in this year again.
Right.
And, they've kicked more salary down the road, and that's fine with me. They still held on to their draft picks, which is interesting, and they can go out, and if they can go out and get a guy that can contribute in the first and second or even third round, that's going to be huge for them, to get younger, get more versatile. So the draft is still very key for this team coming up, and I still think they might come addition as well. I want to ask you about a couple of other things and see what kind of reaction you've gotten. The Bucs came out with a policy that if you want season tickets this year, you got to buy 2 seasons worth. How is that sitting with the fans? I've seen mixed reviews. I kind of like the idea. I think it keeps maybe some of the scalpers off, out of the market a little bit, and the more true fans can get in there. What do you think?
Yeah, and I think it's also a message too. It's opportunistic, right? It's shrewd. I get that. I kind of applaud that. Yeah. And the thing is I think what the Glazers are saying is, are you a Tom Brady fan or are you a Buccaneers fan? Right? I mean, I think that's the subtle thing. Yeah. And what they're trying to do is encourage Buccaneer fans to be at the games and to not sell those tickets. And and to really kind of make that commitment to the team. It's easy to say, oh, Brady's here. I'm a Buccaneer fan now. And then when he's gone, well, the Bucs suck. And, it's easy to say that. It's easy to do that. To be a fan, you're ride or die. You're with your team, whether they win or lose. And, you and I, we've been in this market a long time. There was 35,000 hardcore fans, win or lose, even when they were outnumbered 2-1.
Right.
With Packer fans and Bears fans coming down in the old NFC Central days, right? But there's those hardcore fans that were there, win or lose. And listen, that number's only grown now. But I think that's what the Bucs are looking for. The Glazers looking for, hey, be a Buccaneer fan. Like, you get to see Tom Brady this year, but don't jump ship. We still have got a lot of good players that are going to be on this team in 2023. Now, JP, this is interesting to note, right? The Buccaneers have a bit of a murderous schedule coming out.
Yeah, they do.
The schedule hasn't been released, but we know the opponents, right? Aside from Saints and Panthers, they're going to play at home. The Rams, the Seahawks, so much a big team with Russell Wilson leaving, but the Baltimore Ravens are coming to Tampa, Cincinnati Bengals. I think the Bucs will play the Chiefs over in Germany. Then you've got the Packers, right, that are going to be coming here. The away schedule is Arizona Cardinals, San Francisco 49ers, Cleveland Browns, Pittsburgh Steelers, Dallas Cowboys. It might be a situation, JP, where the Buccaneers are actually a better, more talented team this year. They only get maybe 11 or 12 wins. Just because the AFC is so good and they're playing a lot of those top teams. Now, the great thing for the Buccaneers, I think this is what Buccaneer fans, when you're looking at those season tickets, to your point, do I want to commit to 2 years? Do I want to watch Kyle Trask or Blaine Gabbert out there in 2023? Well, here's the opponents the Buccaneers are playing in, and you better thank the heavens that Tom Brady came back in 2022.
That's right.
But 2023, the first year without Brady, here's who they have aside from the Saints, Falcons, and Panthers, both home and away: Chicago Bears, Detroit Lions, Jacksonville Jaguars, Tennessee Titans, NFC East opponents to be named later. They've got the Packers, they've got the Vikings, they've got the Houston Texans, they've got the Indianapolis Colts, and NFC West and AFC East opponents to be determined later. It's a much easier schedule in 2023. Much easier than it is this year. Now, a lot of things can change, right? We saw the Bengals rise up in 1 year, and that's happened before in the NFL. But I just think that if you are looking at things right now, you'd look at both of these opponents in 2022 and 2023 and say, thank God for Tom Brady in 2022. And if Tom has to leave in 2023, still have a chance to win the NFC South and make the playoffs and probably get double-digit wins based on the opponents they're playing.
I totally agree, and I think the Bucs are well within their rights to do so. If I'm not mistaken, they did that last year with their luxury box sales, and that people had to commit to 5 years with Brady, with Design. Which, you know what? Hey, that's business. I don't have a problem with it, and you have the right.
Well, the iron's hot.
Yeah, you have the right to say no. They're not forcing you. If you don't want to do the deal, do the deal. Go at it another way. So, it's business, and that's the way. And I like the fact that they're making people, commit to the team and not just commit to Brady. I don't have a problem with that one bit. All right, my friend. Anything else going on in your world? Anything else that the Pewter Report's working on right now? That we obviously the draft is coming up, and it's going to be a big part of what this team's going to look like.
We're supposed to have a new mock draft come out today. It's actually come out on Thursday. We want to see how some of these pro days take place today and tomorrow. And we're going to come out with our 7-round mock draft on Thursday.
Nice.
The only reason is because we don't have to put a mock draft out there and then have some really catastrophic, unfortunate injury happen to one of these guys that we might put in our mock that happens at these pro days, like David Jabo, Michigan. Very unfortunate situation. This guy was a top 15 lock as a pass rusher, probably tore his Achilles, and it's going to cost him a lot of money.
Terrible.
I'm sure he'll fall out of the first round, maybe into the second round, but he's out for his rookie year. There's no way he plays this year at all. So is a player the Buccaneers could pick up in the second round? Yeah, maybe. We'll see. But we do have that 7-round mock draft coming on Thursday on PewterReport.com.
I think you better talk to the GM, Tom Brady, about taking a guy in the second round that's not going to play this year because that's off the table, pal.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
all right.
The only saving grace for Ojabo and the Buccaneers is he's a Michigan guy. So I'm
Yeah.
sure Brady
Okay.
would love to have
All
a
right.
Michigan guy.
Okay.
Another
Then
Michigan guy,
he
yeah.
might have a chance. He might have a chance. All right, my friend.
Yeah.
Good. As usual, great information. PewterReport.com. Got to subscribe to it. Go get it. And always the best information. Thanks, partner. Appreciate it.
Yep, you got it, JP. Thank you.
The great Scott Reynolds right there. All right, we're going to take a little bit of an extended break here. And when we come back at the top of the hour, Mayor Castor has laid down the gauntlet to the Rays. You know what? It's about time. About time somebody put pressure on Stu Sternberg to make up his freaking mind because he's holding up a lot of people's livelihoods right now. So we'll talk about that. What's next for the Rays? They've got more injury to pitchers that we got to talk about. So stay with us. Rays information next. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco is starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com. March Madness has come to the Gold and Diamond Source. Did you know the Aquamarine is the birthstone of the month? And the Emily collection has some great unique pieces. It's designed to be affordable, unique, stylish gold and diamond jewelry. The Julieve collection is Julie and Steve Weintraub's exclusive, one-of-a-kind, award-winning collection of the world's finest diamonds and rare fine gemstone jewelry. Don't forget, they have 0% financing and the Diamond Savings Account, where your diamond never loses its value. You can upgrade at any time and get 100% of its value towards a new purchase. Do you have any old jewelry, broken jewelry, just lying around? Well, bring it in and get top dollar and get even more value if you use that money to buy something new or just take the cash. Shop local with the folks who support our community in so many charitable endeavors. It's the Gold and Diamond Source, just a short 15-minute ride from Tampa, just over the bridge on Ulmerton Road. Always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Italiano Insurance has been serving and working in our community for over 60 years, and it's not just about insuring all the pieces of your life. Italiano is as much a part of Tampa Bay as the Cuban sandwich, Gasparilla, and our Bucs, Lightning, and Rays. They're also active supporters of great charities like the Humane Society, Metropolitan Ministries, and local pediatric cancer centers. Hey, we all need insurance, so do business with a local company with a commitment to our community. Don't call some 1-800 number. Call Italiano and be greeted by one of your neighbors. That's 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Named the Small Business of the Year by the Tampa Chamber. 813-877-7799. Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion. And you read about people making millions of dollars, right? You want to get in, but have no idea what to do? Or maybe you dabbled a bit and you want to unlock the real money-making opportunities and don't know how to do it. There are over 10,000 tokens and thousands of decentralized finance exchanges to navigate. So what do? You go to DeFiLava.com. The folks at DeFiLava.com are in Tampa Bay, and they work with you directly to set up custom accounts, answer all your questions, and provide market analysis. Decentralized finance and cryptocurrencies are here to stay and will change the financial markets as we know them. Get in the game. Get with the experts at DeFiLava.com and tell them JP sent you and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the 11 o'clock hour, our second hour here of the JP Peterson Show, presented by the law offices of Christopher Palermo. Our second hour is presented by Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Christopher Lugo and his team over there at Bay Area Modern Medical Center will get you right if you're looking for a new primary care physician, and why wouldn't you be? There's a lot of things going on in the world of health and science, especially in times of COVID. They are a very different kind of approach to primary care, personalized, preventative medicine. And if your doctor's not doing it that way, they're doing it wrong. Be proactive in looking at issues before they become a problem. That's how they do it at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Go to BAMMC.com to find out more. All right, we got Rays Stadium news. We had Ken Hagan on Friday, who gave us a ton of great information and update. That in case you missed it, we're going to play a little bit of it here in just a second. And this morning, Charlie Frago of the Tampa Bay Times chatted with Mayor Castor about some things. And the headline reads, Tampa Mayor Jane Castor says it's time for Rays to choose Tampa or St. Pete. Quote, we just need to get moving on this. And I could not agree more, Mayor Castor. It is time for some of the principals, these high-ranking officials, Mayor Castor. Of course, Ken Hagan has been talking about this for quite some time. Ken Welsh, the new mayor in St. Petersburg. It would be nice if the media would put some pressure on Stu Sternberg as well, because this is ridiculous. There are developers, obviously, in St. Petersburg that want to redevelop that Tropicana Field site, and they need to get going. And, there is a lot of demand for land in Florida right now, especially key parcels like the Tropicana Field site. All of Ybor City is being looked to develop by Earl Shaw. And he's basically in this piece today in the Times is saying, look, we got plans for condos. They can't build them fast enough. And they have to know what's going on with this stadium deal. And this is what I've been saying for 2 years, and it's even more urgent right now, is that there's one guy, Stu Sternberg, that is holding up the development of Tropicana Field, that site, which is going to be thousands of jobs, millions of dollars in economic impact. Whatever they do build there, whether it's going to be a convention center, residential, whatever it is, there are literally hundreds of millions of dollars of economic impact that are going to go into that, and it needs to get going. And the one person that's holding up two cities is Stu Sternberg. And for no good reason, by the way. No good reason except to the longer he strings it out, the more leverage he has, the more money he makes. But in terms of what's best for St. Petersburg, the people of St. Petersburg, Tampa, the people of Ybor City, the taxpayers of Tampa, evidently he doesn't give a rat's ass about any of them, because these people want to get going. And the longer he waits, the less likely this is to get done, which is why his hand needs to be forced, and hopefully by Major League Baseball. And I think that's coming. We talked about this as far as the lawsuit goes. Just a quick catch up on that. It is still scheduled for a jury trial where the partners that are suing Stu Sternberg now have sued him twice, a different lawsuit, similar stuff, but better positioned legally. But this jury trial is the main issue. And as I've said before, Major League Baseball is not going to allow there to be depositions and discovery and documents into the Rays finances. They will not allow that. They can't have that. They'll do anything to avoid that. And that's going to take something happening with Stu Sternberg. He's going to have to, and he's not going to be able to just write a check and settle, because the people that have sued him don't want that for that particular count. They want him removed. They'll get financial remuneration with the other counts of the lawsuit. But in this one count, they want him removed. So something has to be done. And Major League Baseball, I would think, is going to make a move in that direction. And whether that's deposing Stu Sternberg, appointing someone to run the club like they did in the transition of Vince Naimoli, if you remember that, there's precedent for all of this. I think that's what's basically going to happen. They're not going to let this go to trial. There's no way. So Sternberg's going to have to do something. And the first thing he needs to do is get this done. And Mayor Castor said, and I'll have some of the quotes here. As Frago writes, now she wants team officials to publicly show their hand on where they want to build a new stadium in Tampa Bay. Quote, I think in short order, they're going to have to come out and say, this is the location that we want to be, because they've never said that in Pinellas or Hillsborough. We just need to get moving on this. Frago writes, the mayor said she believes the former K-Force headquarters on East Palm in Nucio is the best spot. That location was first reported by the Times in October. Actually, first reported on the JP Peterson Show long before that. But the Rays have never said publicly that they want to play there. After Major League Baseball killed the team's plan to split the season between Tampa Bay and Montreal, the Rays haven't said much about what they plan to do next. And that's true, by the way. We've not heard from the Rays, although we know their playbook is go back to St. Pete, delay, get more leverage, get more money. That's the only thing Stu really cares about, to be quite honest, in my opinion. Castor said she hasn't spoken to team officials in about a month. Meanwhile, which is ridiculous. This is an urgent time, and they need to be in constant contact with the city that they're going to build with. The piece continues. Meanwhile, St. Petersburg Mayor Ken Welch has said his city is still in the conversation and has placed Albert Whitted Airport on the city's waterfront on the table as a possible landing spot for the Rays. Completely logistically ridiculous. Hard to build there, can't get there, completely inaccessible, terrible location. I mean, beautiful location, gorgeous location, but from a logistical standpoint, still in St. Petersburg, still 650,000 people within a 30-minute drive compared to what's going to be 2.4 million people in downtown Tampa. Completely undoable. Major League Baseball has no, and I've seen no interest in building in St. Petersburg, and they're not going to do it. The piece continues. Castor said she'd seen renderings of the Rays design for the K4 site before the split season concept was nixed. She was impressed with how the team had integrated the ballpark design into Ebor's architecture, much like the Baltimore Orioles Stadium, Camden Yards. Quote, you could compare it to like a Camden Yards, kind of feel like it had been there forever. It belonged in the neighborhood. The Rays didn't respond to Castor's comments today, blah, blah, blah. She goes on to talk about the rain shield, which we'll hear Ken Hagan talk. He talked about that on Friday on our show. The mayor said the shot clock is ticking to get a deal done. Quote, I don't want this to be something that comes down to sort of a last-minute crunch time. We need to take advantage of as many days as we have to thoughtfully propose a location, a design, a price. And, absolutely. This is right out of the Sternberg playbook. He wants the longer he delays, the more leverage he gets, but that's bad for St. Pete. It's bad for Tampa. It's bad for everybody else except who? Sternberg. When the $700 million split season ballpark was still viable, Castor said city and county officials would have a financial package ready by around April 1st, but with the Rays regrouping, that's not going to happen, she said. blah, 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 blah. Here's an important part. Daryl Shaw owns the K4 site and the 50-acre gas works development to the southeast. He recently told the Times that the previous site for a raised ballpark near Adamo Drive, which fell apart in 2018, was still possible, but not his preference. Shaw said that portion of gasworks has been planned for high-rise residential towers. Quote from him, technically, yes, it's doable, but I think, though, looking at it for what it's best for Ybor, first and foremost, is people living there. There's a lot of units anticipated for that location. That's the Adamo location. And I would hesitate to lose that, he said. Castor downplayed any competition between St. Pete and Tampa for the team, but made her feelings clear. Quote, we've always said as long as they're in the Tampa Bay area, that's a win for everyone, but clearly the preference would be to have them in our backyard, she said. So basically what you got here is Mayor Castor saying we need the raise to make a decision. And I think what's telling here is, he knows what I know, is that the playbook for Stu is to now go back and fake this interest in St. Petersburg to get a better deal from Hillsborough County and pit one city against the next. That's right out of his playbook. Now, is Major League Baseball going to let him do that? It's duplicitous. It shouldn't be done. And again, you're holding up a lot of people's livelihoods, what's best for both communities, and it needs to move forward. And there needs to be pressure put upon Stu Sternberg. And I like the fact that the mayor is doing that now. And I'd like to see other voices within the city also do that. And I think we're one of those voices, and we're going to constantly be banging the drum to move it forward. And I think personally, the only way that gets done is the removal of Stu Sternberg. I think he's not going to bargain in good faith with anybody. That's not what he does. You go look at his track record of how he's dealt with his partners. And all it is, and if you read the lawsuit, is fraud and deceit. Who wants to do public business with a guy like that? I don't think Hillsborough County does. I know they don't want to if they don't have to. Everybody I've spoken to behind the scenes would love to see new ownership here because they've dealt with Stu Sternberg and they know how duplicitous he is, how he does not bargain in good faith. You can never believe anything he's saying. And when he tells you things and the Rays tell you things, you go do things, and it turns out to be a wild goose chase. Nobody wants to do that anymore. Nobody wants to have Charlie Brown move the football when Lucy comes up to kick it. Or is it the other way around? I'm not sure. Either way, we're tired of Stu Sternberg taking the football away. And we need someone who's going to be trustworthy, someone who's going to follow through, and someone who's going to be an advocate for St. Petersburg. And right now, he is a poor community partner in both places, holding up both of these major developments. And someone needs to step up and tell him to do it. And I'm glad that the mayor finally did. I would like it to have been a little bit more targeted towards Stu Sternberg, but she'll learn what, the same thing that the other mayors of St. Petersburg have learned, that you can't trust Stu Sternberg and rather deal with somebody else. And I wouldn't mind if somebody came out and said that as well. But I know they have to tiptoe around it because he's still the owner. Hopefully not for long. All right, we're going to play a little bit of the interview we did with Ken Hagan on Friday because a lot of people may have missed it as the excitement of the weekend got going because there's a lot of juicy, newsworthy stuff in this. So here's a portion of our conversation with Ken Hagan on Friday. All right, let's get to the meat of this now. I think you told us a couple of months ago that you were expecting to have a proposal for the Rays in the first quarter. Is that still on? When do you expect?
We're getting very close. I know there was a meeting about 2 weeks ago with the Rays folks, and we wanted them to reaffirm that their interest was still in Ybor City, still at the proposed K4 site. That is still the case, which I was very pleased to see. So we're working diligently on that. A lot of stuff, I think, as far as our owner's rep, Skanska, has been working on as far as trying to find pricing for a creative type. I don't want to necessarily say roof, but cover or shade or some type of thing to mitigate the heat and rain and things like that. So some of that stuff's ongoing as far as really trying to crunch the numbers as far as infrastructure and different things beyond just the ballpark itself. But I think we are definitely getting very close.
Yeah, that's obviously a huge part of this because the roof is a huge expenditure, right? That adds an extra, $200 million if it's retractable?
Probably 150 to 200. And so and the Rays are trying to do with their folks, Populous, which is the best architectural firm in the industry, is looking at a smaller ballpark, probably not having a second level. That's supposed to eliminate about $100 million. Probably not a retractable roof. Trying to save $100 million there, and really trying to get that overall number all in closer to 700 when you include land acquisition and infrastructure and so forth. So really trying to do some, I guess the term that's kicked around is value engineering. So trying to do a lot of that to get a number that we can feel comfortable whenever we go forward that is legit, and we don't have to worry about cost overrides and things like that.
How important is it to have a grass field? I know Stu wants that. Is that part of the equation? Because I know it's cheaper to not have a grass field. I mean, there's a lot. I don't know what the University of Florida, by the way, your alma mater, is very big in this agronomy thing. Yeah, I think they know how to grow grass indoors. Can we get that done?
That would be outstanding. And the reality is, and I can't think of the gentleman's name, but this whole process now, at least on our side, is being run out of the Tampa Sports Authority. We've got the best grass team in the NFL. Yeah, I mean, he's expert. They take him to every Super Bowl to help with the grass whenever they're playing outdoors. Fortunately, I can't remember the gentleman's name. So we have the experts, without a doubt, that's going to help guide us in that area.
So do we expect a lot of people when they come at me about Hillsborough doesn't have any money, they don't, Pinellas has more money, blah blah blah. This is not about who has more money, right? Major League Baseball does not want to build a stadium in St. Petersburg, right?
Well, without a doubt. I mean, it's very true and accurate that if you look at just St. Pete as far as their tourism tax dollars, they will have more money to potentially offer than we will. But like you said, it's been a failed business model in St. Pete, and the primary reason is the model, the paradigm that Major League Baseball uses as far as population within a 30-minute drive time, and you simply don't have the numbers in St. Pete. By putting it in Ybor City, you more than double the population. You make it mid-tier of other baseball cities and communities, which ensures that the team will be sustainable and will be able to be here for generations to come. The Rays know that. Their own numbers know that. I think St. Petersburg could offer to pay for the entire thing, and I still don't think Major League Baseball would allow them to be there. That's just my feeling, but I'm confident we're going to be able to, end of the day, get to a credible proposal. If it's 50-50, if it's 48-52, I can't give you an exact percentage, but it's going to be credible. It's going to be worthwhile, and I think it'll be enough for Major League Baseball to be accepted and be pleased with it and say, let's get it done.
I think that's the most important thing right there, is that it's going to be a 50-50, 48-52, whatever it is, it's close enough. And this is the same deal, basically, that the Rays were offered in 2018 that they could have done then. And Stu Sternberg had the money to do it and decided not to. And now, of course, construction costs have gone up. Land is less available, everything. And every day that ticks by, it makes it harder. And you just have to ask the question, what the F is he doing? You can't stay in St. Petersburg. And you just heard Ken Hagan, and Ken Hagan has talked to Major League Baseball. Folks, we know this. This is a absolute truth. St. Petersburg cannot house the Rays. It is nothing to do with the city. And frankly, they don't need to. And it's bad business for them to do so, to pay for a stadium. They've got enough tourism as it is. They have the beaches. Their hotels are overwhelmed as it is. They could do so much more, and people can still go to Rays games across the bay where it needs to be. It's pretty simple.
I had a multi-layered question to this. Just based listening to what you've said and what Ken Hagan said and what we've been doing for the last 6 months or so. So Ken Hagan said there that the stadium they're looking at building, the rendering would likely not even have a second deck, right?
Right.
That's what he said. My thoughts on this. So we're obviously trying to build a smaller stadium, intimate, 25,000, no more than that. If I'm reading this correctly, correct?
I think it's going to be in the 32,
or maybe
32,
small 30s.
Yeah.
So, are we doing this because the costs are so high? Are we doing this because Stu Sternberg this is as much as he's willing to put up? This is what you're going to get? Is this the taxpayers' issue? Why is it, if we're going to get a stadium after all this time, what are we getting here? Because when I hear no second deck and I hear just one deck around and it's basically just a circle, put it there, plop, here you go.
And no retractable roof.
I'm thinking, are we building a spring training facility here?
Right.
That's all I'm saying. I know beggars can't be choosers because it's been 15 years in the making, but what are we building here?
Well, I think one of the things that I've kind of accepted is, we just want to get something done. And, it doesn't have to be perfect. But damn it, we deserve perfect.
Damn it, this town is buzzing right now. Buzzing. I drive it every day. The Selman coming in. I can see the K4 site. I can see what all the crap they're doing by Amalie that they've done.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me
Water
that
Street.
we could put that up with no restrictions, nothing, but we can't just get a nice state-of-the-art stadium for the Rays?
That pays off in 30 years. 30 years amortization over this. This is not that much money.
Where the demand is?
Yes.
I don't know where the demand is to have a bunch of condos and everywhere.
Oh, yeah, there's plenty of demand.
I know
for
that. Well, there's demand.
You can't build them fast enough.
There's demand, but I don't know who wants to see that, whatever. And
that's the problem is these developers, they know that they could put up 6 high rises right where that ballpark is supposed to go at K-Force right now, probably make more money and sell them out tomorrow. Literally pre-sell them tomorrow. And so every minute that we wait, the price goes up on all of this shit. This stadium could have been the thing that the proposal that was put out in 2018 that the Hillsborough County only had 6 months to put the financing together. Look, the financing was not as buttoned up as it should have been, but they could have moved forward with that and made it work. And we'd be moving into it this year, and we would all be excited about it. And it would be a hell of a lot cheaper than what we're going to get probably 2/3 of what we could have gotten for more money. So, no, it's a great question. And I'll tell you this. Arthur Blank, for instance, when he built the Mercedes-Benz Dome, all right, he put in $1.2 billion into that stadium of his own money and got about $250,000 from the city of Atlanta. If another businessman came in here with deep pockets, he would look at that opportunity of the new stadium and he'd go, you know what? Okay, Tampa, you're going to give us $350. I'm going to spend $750. Give me the naming rights. I'll deal with that. I'll build the rest. I'll put it on my dime. And of course, you're going to get that return. You're going to control that kind of money in return. And of course, Arthur Blank owns all the revenue streams in that stadium. That's the return you get. If Tampa, Hillsborough County is going to put up $350 million, which I think is their mark, then they're going to want to get some revenue streams back for that. And that'll be in money that's spent in those community districts. And Ken Hagan went into the financing a little bit more, and go listen to that on our podcast section, the whole interview. And we'll put it up again today for you as well in our social media. But what he talked about is these are all user fees that are going to pay for that point of it. Parking. They'll build a parking deck and they'll make a lot of money off of that. So they'll recoup that money. There's no question the city will in the county will recoup that money. But for a new owner, they might want to put in a second deck. They may want to put in a retractable roof. They may want to do all these things that the fans want, that are good for the fans. So that's why I say Major League Baseball, they need to make a move on this. Like now that the CBA is done, I think this has got to be something that Rob Manfred really zeroes in on, because he can. And we played connect the dots here the other day. Derek Jeter, no longer with the Marlins, had interest in buying the Rays, but Stu Sternberg wouldn't sell. That's why he went down and bought the Marlins. You've got Jeffrey Vinnick clearing out a lot of, getting a lot of cash. He sold a part of the Lightning. He sold some of his hedge fund. I have no inside information working for Lightning. I'm just connecting the dots at what's out there publicly. What Major League Baseball has a relationship with Jeffrey Vinnick. He used to be part owner of the Boston Red Sox. Do you think Rob Manfred's not looking at this Tampa Bay market and go, if I can get Jeter and Vinnick together with maybe the Bartolos and maybe some of the other local Patel money and some of these other local people that have Tampa Bay, the region, at their best interest in heart, and I can do that right now. I can use this lawsuit to get rid of Stu Sternberg. You don't think he wants to do that? Of course he does. And if I'm reading the tea leaves. If I'm Rob Manfred, I come in here and do that. I look like if I finally get some good press for once for Rob Manfred, and it unlocks this city. It unlocks the Tropicana Field site for development, which Mayor Kreisman has put so much work into, and he could see that through. I didn't know he's out of office, but he did most of the work. That happens overnight. The Tampa thing gets going. Darryl Shaw knows where the stadium's going to be. They start building up stuff. It unlocks literally over $1 billion, maybe $2 billion in economic development that's just waiting to be done. And one freaking dude is holding the whole thing up, and nobody's calling him out except me. I mean, what the F is going on? Rob Manfred, step up and do something for this city. Jane Castor, I'm glad you're finally calling out the Rays. Call out who it is. Stu Sternberg. Somebody. I mean, this is ridiculous. There's so much. I've been saying this for 5 years. This, and now it's even more so. This town is exploding, and all of this development is being held up by one dude. Come on, let's freaking go. And if he weren't I was getting to this part. If you put that ownership group together, you don't think they're going to build something a hell of a lot better than what Stu Sternberg is going to pay penny pinch for? Hell yes, he would. So we're missing an opportunity of getting the stadium we really should have.
Yeah. My whole point is I just don't.
Hashtag remove Stu.
Yeah. My whole point, it's like the whole money thing, which sometimes can be a little bit confusing for me. I know you understand that side more than I do, but just putting it aside, why is it so difficult? I've just never understood how it can be so difficult.
Because one guy's holding the whole thing up, and he has a lease that allows him to do that in St. Petersburg.
Yeah. And maybe, I don't know if the situations are different or not, but if Jeffrey Vinnick came to the city of Tampa and Mayor Castor tomorrow, and this would never happen, but if he said, I want to tear down my stadium or my arena and build another one. If the Glazers said, I want to tear down Raymond James and build a state-of-the-art stadium that's modernized.
With their own money?
And all that stuff. That stuff would go over right away.
In a heartbeat.
In a heartbeat. There's something to say about ownership here.
Yes.
And I hate to play the whole bash Stu game, but in some respects, man, it's like certain owners, you got to just do it. Just do it.
Listen,
there's just no forthcoming with that.
I never wanted to make it personal about Stu, even though I very easily could for the things that he's done to me. I could, but this is all about business. And I don't see how people have not framed this argument in this way. He's holding up everything. The redevelopment of the Trop, the redevelopment of downtown of Ybor City he's holding it all up. And it's not because he has good reason. From an economic reason, there are investors chomping at the bit to get all of it going. I mean, they're just waiting. And this dude, it's not like, we got to see if the numbers work here. Hell no, the numbers work. You just got to pull the trigger. And it's not like we're asking him to risk all this money. I mean, if he would just sell the damn team, anybody would, quote, risk the money. And it's like, our friend Bob Melandro from Whitecap Sports, who buys and sells, he brokers franchise deals. He told me flat out, with the new stadium, the team's worth goes from 1.2, 1.5 billion to about 2.3, 2.5 billion with the new stadium because of the new revenues that would be involved. What owner wouldn't do that? I mean, come on. It's ridiculous. To me, one of the biggest problems has been that the media has not focused on what the problem here is. And the problem is Stu Sternberg. And because it's not like he doesn't have the money. That's been exposed. $500 million into a whole new business account, according to the lawsuit, allegedly. And there's plenty of evidence. That's not fabrication, folks. So, he has the money. He has the opportunity. He has the market. He has the cooperation of local government. What the hell are you waiting for? In Oakland, they don't have all that. They don't have nearly all that. In these other places in Texas and Atlanta, all those other things were much harder to do than what we have here. And yet we still can't get it done. Because why? One dude. It's ridiculous. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Rays on the field. There is some, unfortunately, Groundhog Day. Pitchers are getting hurt, are already on the shelf for the Rays. A lot of the ones that got hurt last year, we're hoping to come back, are back for now, and we're going to lose some more. So we'll talk about that and more Bucs when we come back. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco was starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
Sorry, it's a little wrapped in on some Twitter stuff there. Here's a video of a guy siphoning off somebody's gas, and the owner of the vehicle walks up and he's like, in broad daylight, and he's like, "What are you doing, dude?" He's like, "Man, I'm sorry. I couldn't afford the gas, and I'm out of gas, and I just, I thought I'd borrow a little bit just to, get me through." It's like, and this is like, it's it's not some bum looking dude. It's just some regular guy that can't afford gas. It's sad. New world orders here, though. That's good. Things are going well. Thanks, Joe. All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center in our second hour. Appreciate that. We've been talking about the Raves. We're going to get the Lightning. We got a big game tonight against Carolina. Jacked up about watching that tonight. It's got a little playoff feel to it, Nikki. Got a little playoff feel to it. I think it's going to get a little chippy tonight. The new lineup's out. We'll have Nick Paul out there. We'll have the guys, new spots.
New third line in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Colton, Hagel, and Nick Paul.
Is that what you think?
That's going to be – I think I saw that was the Rushes
That's
yesterday. And Hagel is on the penalty kill unit with Belmar now. So
yeah, Paul, Colton, and Hagel. Although you might see Paul taking some of those face-offs as well. Maroon, Edouard Belmar, and Corey Perry moved down to the fourth line. School bus is now parked in back, so to speak. Killorn, Stamkos centering, Kucherov and Killorn. I like that. Palat, Point, and Cirelli, kind of the top line. It's a whole new world.
They got to find something. They got to find. I wouldn't surprise me if a period goes by and it's another slow start. If you see some of that interchanging, if Hagel moves up into the top 6 at some point, because got 21 goals.
Yeah,
forget about that. Guy's got 21 goals. That'd be second on the Lightning right now. So he can put the puck in the back of the net. And the Lightning against Carolina here, a really tough team, a tough place to play.
Mm-hmm.
They got to get something going in the right direction. They are. I don't know if they're squeezing the sticks, but the scoring is dried up a little bit. The defense has been shoddy. I don't know if Vasilevsky's been a little bit worn out on this stretch. I imagine we're going to see Brian Elliott more often down the stretch here.
Yep.
But you got the team you have, so we'll see what happens. But every team around them, there was a lot of moves yesterday at the deadline.
Yeah, there
a
were
lot of moves.
Yeah, and the biggest one, probably Giroux to the Panthers.
For impacting the Lightning's sake,
Yeah.
he went to the Panthers.
Yeah.
Max Domi from Columbus, I think he went to Carolina, but I don't think he's going to be in tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So two teams right there, two teams that you're really going to compete with got better. This is going to be the hardest of the 3 years so far. This is going to be the hardest test for the Lightning to three-peat.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. This is where it gets really, really good. And I think you're going to see in the next, few weeks, and I think you'll see it tonight. I think you'll see a much different Lightning team tonight.
I hope that was discouraging on Saturday night, the way it ended.
Yeah, well, the way it ended, but I think they played better. They played
better,
more responsibly. They're not giving up. They weren't giving up as many 2-on-1s and odd man rushes and breakaways that they were in that road trip.
You look at the goals that were scored, the 2 goals before the game winner, dirty.
Yeah.
And newsflash for you, the guy who was in net for New York is probably going to win the Hart Trophy. He's having one of the the Hart.
The Hart, you think?
He's having one of the best statistical seasons in the history of a goalie in the NHL. His save percentage is about to be the highest in the NHL history. He is the reason why the Rangers are where they are, if you couldn't tell that night. So they just kind of got stopped. But tonight, a good opportunity to get things back on track.
Yeah, looking forward to it. 7:00 puck drop tonight. ESPN Plus tonight. Are we on?
We got an ESPN Plus game tonight?
Bally Sports Sun, too, and on ESPN Plus. I was looking at where to stream it. ESPN Plus, Bally Sports app. They already have an app?
Yeah, they have an app. They have an app.
But not for Rays.
You don't have to pay for it, though, yet.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay for it. But you can watch. I was watching Rays spring training on there. You can watch Lightning still. So, yeah, they have an app.
But when the deal, we talked about that earlier today, there's right now, and this hasn't really been out there that much. You found the story that the Spectrum and Bally Sports are still in negotiations. And although I've been told by an high up executive in Bally Sports that they are going to get that deal done with Spectrum. Don't worry about it. And they are going to have a direct-to-consumers app for streaming Rays baseball at the beginning of the season. So basically what you're telling me, though, is they already have that app, but now they're going to be charging for it as they get into baseball season. So that's interesting. So we'll see. We'll be following that for you. But I think in the end, it's going to be because so many people last year when Frontier didn't have the Rays, and I think Direct actually was a time where they didn't have it either. So the only place you could get it was on Spectrum. So I think now they're going to make it more available. So were the Rays available on the Bally Sports app last year?
Yeah, but you have to have the TV provider
to log in.
It's not like it's available
it's not
to
free.
everybody.
Okay, yeah. So you'd have to have a Spectrum login.
Yes.
So it wasn't available to everybody.
No,
okay.
No.
So this one is going to be available to everybody, but you got to pay for it. And I don't know where the price is going to be, but my guess is, with ESPN being around $6.99 for ESPN Plus. What are some of the other sports at, like Peacock? Are they charging?
Peacock is $4.99 with ads, but that's only if you're that's not if you're watching live sports. It's
right.
$9.99 without ads.
So $9.99 is about I think that'll be about the price point, $9.99. Which if you're paying $160, $170 for Spectrum like I am,
and we're only watching it for sports, really.
Right, exactly. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. All right, as far as the Rays go, news today that Patino is on the shelf as well. What are we hearing on that?
He was supposed to start today for the Rays against Boston down there in Port Charlotte, I believe, and he experienced discomfort in his right throwing arm, so he's been scratched. He's going to throw a bullpen, I believe, tomorrow to see how he feels, but definitely something to keep an eye on because Shane Baz, we just found out, is going to get arthroscopic surgery. He's going to resume throwing in 2 to 3 weeks, and we'll see from there. I always don't like that when they say resume throwing in 2 to 3 weeks because it always feels like then it ends up being something more long-term. But right away, and the Rays, they brought in Corey Kluber, a veteran, and we felt like they needed another veteran. And here you go right away, and you got 2 guys showing discomfort. And for whatever reason, this is happening with a lot of Rays pitchers that are young lately.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not good. There were too many that got injured last year. A lot of that, in Glass now, we're going to talk, that was, his injury had a lot to do with the baseball.
Yeah.
And the fact that they it would not allow them to use the spider tack and what have you. He was convinced that was part of the reason that he hurt himself, and hopefully that's over. So we got past that because we'll have more consistency in how the guys are used to throwing the baseball without the stuff, and they've hopefully figured that out.
Yeah, and I'm speaking of Glasnow. I'm curious today. There is a ton of arbitration hearings today, including Tyler Glasnow. So we should find out today what his numbers are going to be for this year. You don't think you have a hard time believing they're going to keep him for whatever number it's going to be to rehab. But
was it Wechter said, you're looking at $12 million for the next 2 years to get 1 year of Tyler Glasnow.
Mm-hmm.
Any other team in the league would do that.
Yes.
And not even think twice. But this is the team that didn't pick up Charlie Morton's $15 million. So what, for 1 year that he was going to pitch. So we're going to pay 12 for 2 years for one. I don't know. I mean, it's the Rays. Any other team would do it, should do it. He's a Cy Young Award possibility. We know that with the stuff that he has. And Doug even talked about, when he came back from his injuries, that his off-speed stuff was better. He learned more to pitch and not just overpower people. So, I think the best days for Tyler Glasnow are ahead, and he's had some pretty damn good days. So, yeah, I would do everything I could to keep the guy here, especially if he wants to play here. That's rare. So, yeah, I think they should. What they will do, I think by the time we get to the season, I think Kiermaier's gone. I think Meadows is gone. We'll see what they get in return. And I think they'll probably trade Glasnow as well. And, at some point, they're going to have so many prospects, they just can't keep them all. And they've got to trade them for players that they actually have to pay and can help them win. When's that going to be, Eric Neander? When's that going to be?
My only thing with this is, as we discussed, the Rays were a 100-win team last year.
Right.
That we felt like needed to add another bat or two. They needed a veteran pitcher or two, right? Crazy concept.
Yeah.
And you could say they were in on this guy and in on that guy. We're all disappointed about it. We're all disappointed. You didn't get Freddie Freeman. You didn't give up enough assets to go get Matt Olson, and you could have given up any asset you wanted to get him. Same with Matt Chapman. Same with Suzuki, who went to Chicago, who didn't really sign for an absorbent amount of money either, by the way. You came in second place, presumably, in all these things. And
are you starting to doubt it a little bit?
I know the Rays are going to be in the mix, okay? I know they're going to win somewhere between 90 and 100 games.
Oh, yeah, I think they will too.
Okay, they'll probably be a playoff team. At some point, I have to think talent is going to win out, which in the end it has in the playoffs, by the way. It has.
Yeah.
And the Rays roster compared to like a Toronto, which I think is going to just take off this year. Boston always finds a way to be in the mix. Texas beefed up. Houston's going to be there. Chicago. There's a lot of dogs right now in the AL. There is.
Yeah.
And I think the Rays right now, they've left a lot to be desired what they've done in the offseason. And I told you the most deflating thing was the day after Freddie Freeman went to the Dodgers, the Rays made a trade to get 27-year-old minor league outfielder Luke Raley, who, by the way, apparently raked in AAA, 294. I'm sure he's going to find his way onto this roster somehow when they get rid of Margot or Kiermaier or Meadows.
And what's he going to get paid?
Probably like $700K. I mean, there you go. And that's what the Rays are going to do. And here's the thing. Luke Raley, I know how it goes. The guy's probably going to hit like 262. He'll get you 13 homers, and everybody's going to say, I've seen this. It's Sean Rodriguez. It's Reed Brignac. I mean, I've seen it. And unfortunately, I'm a bit worn out from it from now. I'm a bit worn out of having to dive deep to find out why they got this guy.
It gets you meaningful games in September, though. This has always been Stu's calling card.
I get it. But again, I want to win a World Series. To quote the great Moneyball, my bar's here.
Right.
My bar's here. Yeah. I don't know where the organization's is, but it's certainly not up here.
And just think, if you could spend a little bit money with the acumen that the Rays have, you could be, in that every year. And it's just a matter of spending, if they could get to $100 million, that would have gotten you Blake Snell and Charlie Morton last year. And I submit to you both of those guys. And I know Blake was injured at some point. He's not the perfect guy, but he's a hell of a lot better than the rotation that we put out there against the Red Sox. And that's why we got beat. Because Shane Baz and as much as I love these guys, Rasmussen and Baz, and look, they've got great futures. They're not ready for playoff primetime now.
No,
they're not. And you got to have those guys to win a World Series. And the Rays just won't make the requisite. You could keep saying, well, they're in it on this guy and they're in it on that guy until they freaking get it done on a bona fide superstar. I'm skeptical.
Yeah.
I'm skeptical.
Yeah, and I mean,
The Rays knew every moment they were going to get outbid by the Dodgers. They knew and they could throw it out there. They were in on Freddie Freeman. They were never going to get Freddie Freeman. Like I told you, it's like the live auction at the charity thing. I'm going to bid it up, and the other guy's going to take
Here's
it.
the thing, though.
He knew it. Andrew Friedman told Stu Sternberg, "Don't worry about it. You won't have to pay the money. I got this."
Here's the thing. But most teams like the Rays, okay,
It'll make you look good though.
most teams like the Rays that are in that kind of ballpark understand they have to pay up more to get a superstar like that to come here, right?
Right.
You would think that's the logic.
Right.
Okay, under the contract terms that Freddie Freeman got, this is the last time I'll bring up Freddie Freeman because I know you didn't want to talk about it from the minute it came out. But he signed for $27 million. Okay, the Rays' best offer, allegedly, reportedly, was $25 million. I mean, is $5 million a year really going to hurt you in this payroll this year that you've already don't really have a big one? Is it really going to hurt you in the grand scheme of things?
No. You're still going to print money.
Just to bid $5 million
You're still going
more.
to stuff millions of dollars into your fat wallet.
And
But not as much as I could.
And you, by the way, you'd make that money back because people would come to the ballpark to see Freddie Freeman.
Allegedly.
I
Doesn't matter. You're still making huge amounts of money.
I don't know.
How much is enough?
Yeah.
How much is enough? Don't you ever want to win a World Series? No, this is why owners who have to, pay for their private school with the profits are crap owners. You need guys with deep pockets that don't care if they, like Jeffrey Vinnick, who doesn't care if he makes money or loses money on his team. It's a lost leader. He has other businesses that pay the bills. Stu doesn't. So it all comes back to him. I hate to say it, but it all comes back to him.
I know.
Ownership. All right, let's take a quick break. And when we come back, I want to get into a couple of stories that just have my freaking pants on fire. A lot of it has to do with the crap that's going on at ESPN right now. The story on Phil Mickelson in the Masters, which Bob Herrick talked about yesterday on this show. Very, very interesting. And a couple other more tidbits. Stay with us. March Madness has come to the Gold and Diamond Source. Did you know the Aquamarine is the birthstone of the month? And the Emily collection has some great unique pieces. It's designed to be affordable, unique, stylish gold and diamond jewelry. The Julieve collection is Julie and Steve Weintraub's exclusive, one-of-a-kind, award-winning collection of the world's finest diamonds and rare fine gemstone jewelry. Don't forget, they have 0% financing and the Diamond Savings Account, where your diamond never loses its value. You can upgrade at any time and get 100% of its value towards a new purchase. Do you have any old jewelry, broken jewelry, just lying around? Well, bring it in and get top dollar and get even more value if you use that money to buy something new or just take the cash. Shop local with the folks who support our community in so many charitable endeavors. It's the Golden Diamond Source, just a short 15-minute ride from Tampa, just over the bridge on Ulmerton Road. Always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Italiano Insurance has been serving and working in our community for over 60 years, and it's not just about insuring all the pieces of your life. Italiano is as much a part of Tampa Bay as the Cuban sandwich, Gasparilla, and our Bucs, Lightning, and Rays. They're also active supporters of great charities like the Humane Society, Metropolitan Ministries, and local pediatric cancer centers. Hey, we all need insurance, so do business with a local company with a commitment to our community. Don't call some 1-800 number. Call Italiano and be greeted by one of your neighbors. That's 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Named the Small Business of the Year by the Tampa Chamber. 813-877-7799. Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion. And you read about people making millions of dollars, right? You want to get in, but have no idea what to do? Or maybe you dabbled a bit and you want to unlock the real money-making opportunities and don't know how to do it. There are over 10,000 tokens and thousands of decentralized finance exchanges to navigate. So what do? You go to DeFiLava.com. The folks at DeFiLava.com are in Tampa Bay, and they work with you directly to set up custom accounts, answer all your questions, and provide market analysis. Decentralized finance and cryptocurrencies are here to stay and will change the financial markets as we know them. Get in the game. Get with the experts at DeFiLava.com and tell them JP sent you and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back. Our second hour brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Go to BAMMC.com if you're looking for a new primary care doctor. Highly recommend Christopher Lugo and his team over there. Personalized medicine. They'll spend lots of time with you and really dig down on what's going on with your health, get you healthy, keep you healthy. That's BAMMC.com. All right, three-time Masters champ Phil Mickelson is pulling out of the Masters. Mickelson's name was moved from the list of players expected to compete in the Masters to a section at the bottom titled Past Champions Not Playing. Bob Herrig reporting that this is usually done by the players' choice. So he has voluntarily pulled himself out of the Masters because of the controversy going on with this comments about the Super Golf League in Saudi Arabia. I just, as much as I know how much Phil Mickelson loves the Masters, I can't imagine him doing this voluntarily. And I would think that the Masters, if they did not want him to play, would, have a polite, private conversation, and Phil, out of respect for the Masters, immense respect that he has for him, would not make it public and would just do it privately. And kudos for him for doing it. I still, these are just words that he said with what's going on in this world today. And I think the hypocrisy of all these companies that, and look, what he said it in a very crude way, but what he said is not wrong. And everybody that does business with Saudi Arabia knows exactly what they're doing in their human rights abuses, executions, and et cetera, but they still do business with him. He just said it out loud, and he's the one taking all the heat, which it doesn't make sense to me.
No, it doesn't make sense to me. I think the worst part about it is, and I think Bob brought it up yesterday during our interview.
Yeah.
Under a year ago, Phil Mickelson was the oldest player to win a major in the history of golf, 50 years old. And it was a
huge story.
It was a unbelievable moment. It was one of my favorite moments, honestly. It rivaled the Tiger Masters winning moment. It was in some respects, it was more shocking to me that Phil was able to win a major. And we all loved him. And his reaction after, he's always been a great personality in the game of golf. And I think more people came out with an admiration for him. And all of a sudden, he says something that people don't like, is like, what are we doing? Is this it for Phil Mickelson? Is this what we're doing? Like, does anything he did for the game of golf, does any of it matter anymore now?
I guess
to
not.
People?
I guess not.
It's a shame. Like, Phil Mickelson's I said this yesterday. I wrote a story about this for Outkick. This is the first Masters. This is crazy to think about. The first Masters since 1994 that's not going to feature Phil Mickelson or Tiger Woods, because I don't think Tiger Woods is going to play, probably.
No, definitely
he's still
not
on that list, but you have until the week prior to take your name off. But, that's crazy to me. That's 30 years almost. Two of golf's greatest icons are not going to be in this. And Tiger's it's out of his hands, obviously. Yeah. But for Phil's case, the guy should be here. It's not going to feel right without him there. I mean that.
No,
he's a draw.
Not. And I can't believe that he would do that on his own. I just don't. I don't think that it's not his nature to turtle like this, despite what he said. And I'm sure the tour is basically saying, look, we want you to take a break for a while. And I think it's unfair. I think it's ridiculously unfair, but it is what it is. ESPN today put out this on their Twitter. ESPN believes in inclusivity and denounces legislation and actions across the United States that infringe on any human rights. We stand with our LGBTQIA colleagues, friends, families, and fans. This is obviously directed at the legislation in the state of Florida, where Ron DeSantis and the legislature basically in this bill that has been unfairly dubbed "Don't Say Gay." Doesn't say that in the bill anywhere, but people still put it out there. But basically keeps teachers from talking about these type of sexual decisions and sexual orientations until fourth grade. Now, what the hell teachers have any interest in talking to kids, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old about their sexual orientation is beyond me. And so this is somehow a hateful legislation. Are you kidding me? And also them promoting Leah Thomas as a Adidas commercial, celebrating trans athletes competing as women. I mean, and they say nothing about, are they supporting women? What about the inclusivity of women's sports that you cover? Which Brooke Bennett, and if you have not listened to the interview, we had her on yesterday, Olympic gold medal swimmer, was very, very direct about it, about Leah Thomas and what the people in swimming are saying. And you need to go listen to that interview. She's very, very candid. It's on all over our social media, on our podcast. Go to fanstreamsports.com. You can get it right there as well. I mean, if ESPN is going to be just a far left propaganda machine, just go out and say it. Because that's exactly what they're doing. That's what they did with the BLM. We have the Project Veritas that basically has confirmed what we already knew, that they were all in on this Marxist organization. Black Lives Matter, absolutely. The actual political group, though, is a Marxist organization intent on overthrowing this government. That's not even within question. We see all the irregularities with the people that run BLM, all the money that was given and where it's squandered. All these legal actions. I mean, it's been a disaster. Have they ever apologized for that? No. It's now just become a huge leftist political machine, ESPN. They're not even hiding it anymore. It's ridiculous.
I'll say this about the women's sports. All these big companies, and ESPN is the biggest one that touts how inclusive they are with female sports. You're not about that, okay?
No.
They're not about that.
No.
You could put whatever Twitter statement you want about it. It's all talk, no action. I have so many examples I could show you where there's no action. You know, it's funny to me. And this is what pisses me off about these big media, sports media companies. They all say we need to promote women's sports more. We need to talk about women's sports more. They need to be here in this spotlight. And we need to, well, guess what? You can control it.
Yes.
You're acting like it's our fault that we don't want to consume it. You don't put it in front of my eyes.
Right.
Okay. You hide it. I say this all the time. When there's big women's events going on, ESPN, what do? You shove it to ESPN News, which half people don't have. You shove it to ESPN Plus, where I have to pay to watch it, but you're going to put, the
Pelicans and Jazz on.
The Pelicans and Jazz, which gets less than, I don't know how many people watch that garbage, but you put that on every night for me to watch, and you tell me it doesn't make any sense to me. Or randomly at ESPN2 during the summer, they're putting cornhole in front of me and axe throwing and hacky sack or whatever. I mean, you have poker on that damn channel for crying out loud. If you want female sports, put it in front of my eyes.
Right. Yeah.
It's
Put your money where your mouth is.
I don't care how many Twitter statements you put out. It's ridiculous.
And this was on, this is Elle Duncan in the middle of the women's basketball pregame, right?
Yes.
This is what passes for sports coverage.
Legislation happening in Florida and across other states as well that are targeting our LGBTQI plus communities. Many of our colleagues here at ESPN have planned and organized a walkout that will be happening at 3 p.m. Eastern today. And to be honest with you, we thought we were going to come here today and really celebrate a sport that has meant so much and done so much, including for so many in the LGBTQI plus communities. But we understand the gravity of this legislation and also how it is affecting so many families across this country.
Really?
And because of that, our allyship is going to take a front seat. And with that, we're going to pause in solidarity.
And this is on the heels of them reporting every time they talk about Jacob Blake that he was unarmed, which is completely untrue, and that he was just out for a drive with his family when he was shot in the back 8 times. Not that he violently resisted arrest, that there was a warrant out for his arrest, that he violently resisted 3 officers who were trying to tase him, and he had a knife with him. They never report any of that, and that's just simply to create racial division, especially with the younger populace that watches them. It's disgusting how they create racial division, and now this creating more. And my problem is not that they take a stand, but that there's no balance on the network whatsoever, and they're misrepresenting the fact that legislation is anti-LGBTIQ whatever. It's not. It's pro-family. And it's just simply not asking teachers not to talk about gender identification before the 4th grade. Is that's somehow a horrible thing that you got to take a stand on? You got to be kidding me. It's anything that is pro-family or maybe not exactly what the LGBTQ lobby wants is actually anti. That's not how it works. And all of this now coming into our sporting landscape. And I'm sorry, most sports fans don't want it, which is why they're leaving ESPN in droves. Sad state of affairs. But we're going to keep talking about it. I know we'll take hits for it, but we're going to keep standing up for what we believe in. And I think people should have their voices heard. And it's not anti-LGBTQIA, whatever. It's not. It's pro-family, and a lot of people support it. A lot more than don't support it. All right. Our thanks to all our guests today. We had a great guest lineup there. We thank TJ, Scott Reynolds for coming on as well. We thank you guys for watching and listening every day. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll see you then.